Good evening. Two men are taking on two Albuquerque Catholic churches and the Archdiocese.
They say they were raped as boys and accuse the church of covering it up and allowing a culture of abuse that lasted for decades. News 13's Chris McKee is in the Newsplex with more.
Jessica, the lawsuit specifically names the Queen of Heaven and Lady of Guadalupe parishes in Albuquerque. Two men say they were raped there in the 60s and 80s. They also claim that the Archdiocese knew they and other boys were at risk, but did nothing to prevent abuse.
Lawsuits over priest sex abuse claims are nothing new for the Archdiocese of Santa Fe. But now, attorney Brad Hall hopes two lawsuits he's filed will address what he calls the bigger picture.
We're saying they knew or should have known what was going on and done something to stop it sooner.
Hall is representing two men. The first says he was raped as a teen in 1986 by former Father Sabine Griego at the Queen of Heaven parish in the Northeast Heights. The second, John Doe, says Father Walter Cassidy raped him 50 to 80 times in the late 60s at the Our Lady of Guadalupe parish in the North Valley. Both lawsuits claim the priest often gave young boys alcohol and groomed them for sex. But Hall says the goal isn't just to go after these two priests.
It's not about him. The case is about the Archdiocese and the church and the culture.
In all, 40 priests who served in the Archdiocese of Santa Fe are named in the lawsuits.
Practically a third of the priests running around northern New Mexico were molesting children.
Priests that the victims claim the Archdiocese knew had a history of sexually abusing kids. The victims believe the Archdiocese covered it up by transferring priests to different parishes when people started asking questions.
These two particular individuals believe they need to obtain documents from the Archdiocese about that era and those decades to understand how this happened to them in order to help their own therapeutic recovery.
Hall says he hopes these lawsuits will finally expose the systemic issues that he says led to decades of abuse.
Justice is about healing in these cases.
Now, Hall says the two men don't know how much they'll go after. We reached out to the Archdiocese of Santa Fe for comment today, but we still haven't heard back. Jessica, back to you.
Okay, Chris, since the mid-90s, the Archdiocese has settled more than 100 cases of sex abuse involving priests in New Mexico parishes. No case has gone to trial.